All righty, everybody. I think we're set. I just want to say welcome, everybody, and thanks for joining us for Connect Europe, the pitch competition that brings together leading members of the media with innovative startups from around Europe. My name's Jim Glade, and I'm a principal at Publicize, which is a PR firm for growth, and I'm joined by my colleague, Salome, as well. We're really pleased to be joined today by a host of leading journalists who report in the fields of startups, technology, as well as the media. We're really equally privileged to host 7 very exciting European companies as they pitch their ventures in front of these distinguished media judges. Before we begin, I just wanted to mention that if any startups or anybody watching have any questions regarding PR, please feel free to reach out to myself at jim@publicize.co, or alternatively at info@publicize.co. Before we begin, we're really happy to have a special guest host with us today. He's a leading figure in the world of startups and venture capital in Europe. Jesus Tapia is the head of ISDI Accelerator, the startup accelerator from Spain's ISDI Digital Business School. The accelerator channels the entrepreneurial efforts of ISDI students into Europe's startup ecosystem by facilitating collaboration between public entities, corporations, educational entities, investors, and founders. In addition, ISDI Accelerator partners with the world's leading organizations, including UNICEF, Toyota, and the European Commission, to create innovation initiatives to help further innovation in specific sectors. Jesus, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Jim, for having me here.
It's our pleasure. Please feel free, if you'd like, I can help you share your screen as well.
Yeah, I'm going to share my screen. Yes.
All right, sounds good. You should be able to share your screen now.
Let me know when you guys see it.
Yeah, looks good. And we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, so thanks everybody for having me here. I just want to give 3 minutes introduction and a couple of humble advices to the startups today. So ISDI is the innovation and entrepreneurship. As Jim said, the core of our business, we are a business school with offices in Madrid, in Barcelona, in Mexico City, on partnerships with institutions like Harvard in the US and Silicon Valley. And we are starting to have strong connections in Shanghai. We opened an office in Paris a couple of years ago. And these are our 5 main pillars of the ISDI ecosystem, but I want to highlight the one that is highlighted here, entrepreneurship and startups, and this is the one I'm leading as head of ISDI Accelerator. So within ISDI Accelerator, we have 4 main building blocks of what we do. Mainly, as Jim said, we have a special relationship with the European Commission. We started in 2014 winning some of the Horizon 2020 calls published by the European Commission, and we moved to the corporate venturing services, special partnership with Toyota and UNICEF. And we also have, for all of our students, our incubator. So everybody who passes by our classrooms is invited, if that is the option for them to become an entrepreneurship, and also feeding and embracing the ecosystem with our investors club. So 3 times per year, we'll make a call to our ecosystem to attend several investors days that we have across the year. So these are the main numbers, the main figures. 34 different acceleration or incubation programs combining European Commission, Toyota, UNICEF, and innovation methodologies training programs that we run from my business unit. 357 startups since we created, and one of the main differentiators that ISDI has is the philosophy of feeding the ecosystem. So everybody who passes by our classes, we invite them to become a mentor depending on the specialization or on their interest. And also try to have as many investors, business angels, etc., who can help those entrepreneurs to become really entrepreneurs in the near future. We have today some of our in our guests, ProSfit. ProSfit was one of the startups that we accelerated in the first edition of Toyota. So over the last 4 years, we have run 2 editions for Toyota Motor Europe. evaluated more than 231 startups, covering 4 main verticals: mobility for all, and also the sustainability strategy that is being implemented by Toyota in searching those external talents outside their internal ecosystem. And our strong relationship that started back in 2015 with UNICEF Spain. We have a special collaboration on becoming on promotes startups with social impact, and we have run already 4 editions, a special one in the middle of the COVID, and we feel very proud of all the things that we are doing for our colleagues in UNICEF Spain. With respect our European programs, as I said, we started in 2014. We are industry agnostic, technology agnostic. We participate sometimes as a link consortia or as one of the members of the consortia, always focusing on acceleration of startups and marketing, communication, and dissemination of the results, which is very relevant for the European Commission. And just 2 advices for my beloved startups. Show passion. You have 2 minutes to show passion and show belief on what you do and how you do it, and the reason for being where you are right now. That's all I can say, guys. Enjoy those 2 minutes, but especially, as I said, passion is key, and belief on you guys and your ideas and on the way you do it and how you do it is critical from my humble perspective.
Jesus, thank you very much, and congrats on everything that you guys are building with ISDI Accelerator as well. If anybody would like to learn more about ISDI Accelerator as well, everybody can reach out. Jesus, if you wouldn't mind sharing your email address, or I have it here, I can put it in the chat as well. Yes. It's jtapia@isdi.education, and I'll put it here for everybody. But thanks again so much, Jesus, for your time.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. All right, folks. Now we're going to hop right into meeting our media judges. So judges, when you have a chance, after I call out your name, if you wouldn't mind, just go ahead and saying hello for the camera as well, so we can put a face to a bio. First up, we have Patricia Nilsson, who's a media reporter specializing in consumer industries for the Financial Times, the world's leading global business publication. She became a freelance journalist during her undergraduate studies and went on to learn how to use data, video, and a bit of code to tell better stories for goldsmiths. Aside from her feature writing, she has worked on sustainability issues for the Swedish Trade Council as a researcher on Turkish security policy, as well as a speech program producer. She has worked in Shanghai, Istanbul, and now in London. Before becoming a reporter, she joined the FT as a data analyst and nowadays covers a broad range of industries such as retail, cannabis, and increasingly pornography. She also hosts her own podcast, Hot Money, which is all about the shadowy power structures of the porn industry. If you haven't checked it out, it's really interesting. Patricia, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. I'm very glad to be here today.
It's a pleasure, and we know it's getting hot there, so thank you so much for sticking around. Next up, we have Lucas Garcia Alcalde, who is a reporter for Business Insider España, the Spanish edition of one of the world's leading business publications. He has a degree in journalism and audiovisual communication and is currently doing a master's degree in globalization, cultural industries, and digital economy. Lucas covers the digital economy and digitization of industry, sustainability, as well as other topics for Business Insider. Before joining Insider, Lucas worked as a freelance journalist at Capital Radio FM and the Spanish business publication Muy Negocios y Economía. Lucas, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm super happy to be here.
It's good to have you back. Genetier, and apologies, Janae, if I butchered this name. Genetier is a senior data editor for Crunchbase, where she conducts strategic research to explore and report on trends within private company data. She focuses in particular on global venture funding trends, fintech, and gender equity. She joined Crunchbase over 11 years ago and has spearheaded data management and partnering with the venture community. As a TechCrunch alum, she has been involved with the setup of TechCrunch 50 and TechCrunch Disrupt, the legendary event. She also leads the Seed series for Crunchbase, interviewing leaders in seed investing, and is also an experienced public speaker and moderator connecting with startup communities around the globe. Janae, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, great to be here. And yes, Jenny, you did a good job. So thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And last but not least, we have Stefano De Maraso, who is the editor of Novo Brief, the largest English language news outlet exclusively covering the technology and startup scene in Spain. Based in Barcelona, but originally from Lima, Peru, Stefano has written for a number of leading Latin American publications as well, including Gestión, Peru's largest newspaper, where he covered the health, banking, and automotive sectors during his tenure. Stefano is also a contributor to Entrepreneur magazine in Europe, and his most recent work has featured interviews with the Spanish CEO of companies like Gorillas and other big investors in Peru as well. Thank you so much, Stefano, for being here.
Thanks for inviting me, Jim. Excited to hear those speeches.
No, my pleasure. And I spoke too soon. We also have one last media judge we're lucky to have with us, Patricia Allen, who's the head of content for EU Startups, a leading publication focused on European startup news. She has extensive experience across communication channels and loves to help develop programs that liaise between organizations to boost connections and generate valuable outreach strategies in both the corporate and the NGO space. She spends her time writing the latest news and updates on startups across Europe's politics and feminism. So thank you so much, Patricia, for joining us.
Thank you. It's really great to be here. Thank you.
No, it's a pleasure. We're really honored to have everybody with us today. And like I said, collectively, we have decades of experience in the media space. So thank you very much, everybody, for taking the time out of your day to be here and judge the competition. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the competition. Startups, I'll go ahead and I'll bring you on in the presenter role, and you'll be able to share your screens. You'll be pitching for 2 minutes, and I will be timing you. After each pitch, we'll open up for 2 to 3 questions from journalists, or if you have any immediate feedback that you'd like to give on the presentations as well. This is all a real learning experience for everybody, so please feel free to share your opinions as well. Up first, we have Matthias from Transmetrics. Matthias, give me 1 second and I will give you the presenter role. All right, Matthias, you should be able to share your screen now.
Yeah. Just a second, please. All right.
Of course. Awesome. I can see your screen and I can hear you loud and clear, Matthias. So whenever you're ready, just go ahead and I'll start the timer.
All right. The logistics industry has been more demanding than ever before. New technology, new market entrants, and the new business models. At Transmetrics, we have built a state-of-the-art platform that optimizes logistics planning and asset management by leveraging the power of predictive analytics and artificial intelligence. Now, the logistics industry has major inefficiencies. For example, 24% of trucks driving in the EU are empty, 33% of containers shipped across the globe are empty, while 66% of logistics assets are idle, and 50% of trailers have to be pulled out of the road to be maintained each year. Now, this, of course, leads to major inefficiency, very high costs, and has a very high impact on the environment. At Transmetrics, we've been disrupting the industry by helping logistics service providers optimize their processes and achieve operational excellence by optimizing analytics, forecasting, and planning. Our team combines an ample experience of data science, IT, and logistics. And we all together help our clients achieve a 5 to 10% cost reduction. And we do that by basically integrating a platform that challenges traditional planning methods and helps planners with integrated AI insights to help stay front of their day-to-day operations. A pillar aspect to this is big data analytics, and we basically pull information out of our client's database plus external factors that might affect the day-to-day operations, and by that we aim to achieve very high demand forecasts, optimal logistics plans, and significant savings for our customers. That's what we'd like to do, like to call augmented intelligence, where the best of both worlds merge and come together. On one side, AI, and on the other, the planning and the expertise of the executives. We basically serve 3 verticals: container shipping, line haul planning, and fleet maintenances. My name is Matthias Guarello, and I'll be happy to take any questions you might have. Thanks.
Awesome. And time. Fantastic, Matthias. Thank you so much for your presentation. I'm sure there's some follow-up questions. Any initial feedback is also welcomed as well. I'm not sure, Lucas, Janae, anybody want to start off with some questions?
I have a question, which is, we've seen, just covering the media, we've seen a lot of money go into the logistics space, and I'm just wondering, who are the customers that you're targeting for this service?
It's very specific. On one side, we basically work with the major shipping lines, helping them keep their empty container fleets in balance. It's been throughout the pandemic and all the logistics chaos, very, very difficult, of course. But under normal circumstances, we would help them optimize their processes. Other than that, it's basically logistics companies, DPD, or packaging companies like DPD Poland, DB Schenker, and these kinds of big companies. And last but not least, companies with large fleet or large assets in their operations.
Any other questions from the panelists?
Yeah. Hi, Matthias. One question. Well, actually, 2 combined. First, how has been the experience for Transmetrics and your clients in the recent supply chain crisis? And what do you think are the challenges for these clients for the near future? What's going to happen?
Well, basically, we have to, first of all, understand that the data in the field of logistics is, generally speaking, not good enough to really pull out good plans. So basically, our clients really benefit from the first step, which is data cleansing and the data optimization, to help the algorithm really understand their processes. And after the algorithm learns, it is able to adjust, optimize plan, and by that, the planner or the organization as a whole is able to stay ahead of the demand and take the proper decisions when it comes to operations, service levels, customer relations, etc.
All righty. Well, Matthias, thank you so much. Great present. Oh, actually, I see somebody's hand raised as well. Lucas, if you had a question, please go ahead.
Yeah, mine is really quick. I think you just saw in your presentation, Matthias, but I just want to know if any big company have already trust on Transmetrics, if you have any big name who already are using your service.
Yeah, for instance, we work with companies like Transmar, Milaha, DB Schenker, Kühnenagel, TIP, which is a large trailer lessor in Europe, and we work with them in France, basically, and yeah, these kinds of companies in general.
Awesome, Matthias. Well, thanks for the presentation and congratulations on everything you guys have built as well. Judges, we'll go ahead and we'll move on to the next presentation, but if you wouldn't mind just scoring in real time in the document. Next up, we're going to bring Ala with Tempo France. Ala, give me 1 second and I'll give you the presenter role. All right, Ala, you should be able to share your screen whenever you're ready.
Okay, do you see my screen?
Yeah, it's loading right now. Just might take a sec. You might want to give it another try. Let's see. I can let me withdraw the co-host permission and give it right back to you. See if that helps. Alrighty. I'm not sure if it's just me, but I'm only seeing the black screen. Is that correct, everybody?
Yeah.
I am the same.
Ola, do you have
And I
your?
think if I do like that, it's better.
If you go down to the if you go down to the bottom, there should be a box with an arrow pointing up. Try clicking that one more time and see if we can share your screen again. Try clicking it one time.
I will do if I do like that, it's better.
Let's see again. Actually, I mean, we see you, but not your screen. No worries. You want to try really quickly doing the clicking on the box with the arrow, and let's see if it. I think once you did it again, it stopped, and then we'll try and see if it loads again.
No.
All right, there we go. But unfortunately, I can't see any presentation that you have. Let me see. Do you really quickly? We can, Ala, if you want, you can try to send me the presentation, and I can share it, and then we can move forward. We'll go ahead and go to the next panelist, and then we'll bring you up after Ala, if that's okay. You should have my email, correct, Ala?
Yes, correct.
Okay, perfect.
I'm sending you. Yeah.
Awesome. Sounds good. All righty, folks. We'll jump ahead. Everybody in the scorecard, if you could just be pretty careful to skip ahead. We'll bring up Aisling from Positive Carbon. Aisling, give me 1 second and let's see here if the old share screen function works for you.
Great. I'll give it a go now.
All righty.
And continue. And I'm also apparently having technical problems.
Oh no, that's not good news. It might be the Zoom. Darn it.
No, I have a new laptop. Oh wait, here we go. Sorry, I have a new laptop, so I have to give permission to everything.
Okay, gotcha.
Plus,
we're all in the EU, so GDPR.
Of course.
All right. All right, awesome.
That worked? Yes.
Yeah, we can see.
Okay, brilliant. Sorry about that.
No worries at all. As soon as you're ready, we'll go ahead and start the timer.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. My name is Aisling, and I'm a co-founder of Positive Carbon, and we enable kitchens to eliminate their food waste. So 1/3 of all food that's produced globally is wasted, contributing to 10% of all greenhouse gas emissions. So in the EU, outside of households, the food service industry is the largest waster of food by far, spending 21 billion euro annually on food that ends up in the bin. Of that 21 billion euro, almost 2/3 is easily preventable. So some food operators, it comes down to them spending the equivalent of 1,000 euro every day on food that's completely preventable. So why did this food service industry produce so much food waste? Well, it comes down to visibility. you can't manage what you can't measure. So we want to give this full visibility to our customers. And we do this by using our patented food waste sensor that can detect, log, and analyze all food waste that goes into a bin. The first step is when something is thrown into the bin, our device takes an image of the food and AI labels that food. Next, we create a 3D map of the bin to calculate the volume and the weight of the food that goes in. We take all of this food waste data and present it to our customers in real time. This allows them to see what their biggest sources of food waste are and to make changes to their purchasing, production, and preparation habits to reduce their food waste and reduce their food bills and environmental impact. We have demonstrated a 42% reduction in food waste across some of our customers. This equates to a 2% increase in gross profit, which are thousands of euros of savings that completely dwarfs the cost of our SaaS model. There are 890,000 restaurants across the European Union, and there are 15 million across the globe. So we have an absolutely extraordinary opportunity to scale and make an impact. Thank you very much for your time.
Awesome, Aisha, and thank you so much. And under time as well, so always appreciate it. We'll go ahead and we'll open up for questions or any feedback from the judges panel. Patricia, anybody want to start us off? Oh yeah, please.
Oh yeah, I'm just wondering, how many customers do you have? Are you mainly working with chains, or do you also work with independent restaurants?
Yes, so I suppose we always say restaurants because we have great figures for them across Europe and the world. But I suppose our main target customers are actually the hospitality industry, so hotels, and then food service providers, so catering companies. We've had a lot of success with catering companies in Ireland, just that every big tech company is headquartered in Ireland. So there is a lot of food waste and a lot of ambitious sustainability targets within these businesses. So we are spreading throughout them. We try to work as best we can with in hotels, working within large hotel groups so that we can start in one and then spread out throughout the group. It's the most efficient way to grow and scale. But in terms of customers, we'll hit 100 by the end of the year.
Thank you.
Got it. And I'd love to understand, Aisling, how you charge your customers. What's the business model?
So the business model is we have a SaaS business model. So we charge our customers a service fee for the use of the software. So we still own the tech, we still own the IP, we still own the data, but we give them access to their data and they pay on a monthly basis. We have 3 different packages based on the size and complexity of the data required, so ranging from 100 to 370 euro a month.
One question. Do you have a way that you can make sure that these businesses are like actually saving food? I mean, in other words, how do you prevent positive carbon to be a greenwashing tool? You know what I mean?
Yes, so I fear that greenwashing is always going to be a possibility in some industries. However, our product is so closely linked to financial savings that if a customer is doing it correctly, our first priority in the food waste hierarchy is always reduction. So you want to stop people purchasing as much, stop wasting as much food. Yes, but luckily with our solution, our environmental impact is so tightly linked to the financial benefit of it. So even if a business isn't sustainably focused at all and they are purely using our technology to reduce their food bills, it's still going to reduce their environmental impact. And then they're only going to reduce their environmental impact if they're also bringing in their food waste. So we have customers that are purely in it for the financial savings and others that are purely in for the environmental savings, but fortunately it works both ways.
All righty. Anybody else have any questions for Aisling? No? All right. Well, congrats on everything you've built so far with Positive Carbon. Really cool. And thank you for a good presentation as well. You still with us?
Oh, sorry, I was saying thanks.
Okay, sounds good. Really appreciate it. We'll go ahead and we'll start the next presentation. So again, sorry for those technical difficulties. Ala, I have your presentation and I'll go ahead and share my screen. Just as a heads up, everybody, she might need an extra couple points if I mess up on the timing of the presentation. But Ala, please feel free whenever it's time, just say next slide and I'll go ahead and I'll do my best. I'm not very good at these. Just give me 1 second. Give me 1 second here. I'll share my screen. Okay. So you should be seeing my screen right now. And let me go into the slideshow.
You can switch to the next slide immediately. So.
Okay, you got it. Well, let me start the timer, and as soon as you're ready, we will go ahead and start. Alrighty?
Yeah. So bonsoir, good evening, because it's an evening in Paris. So I'm so excited to present you Tempo France, which is, despite the very big experience on the market, still young French startup, which works and operates on international remittance market. In fact, since 2018, Tempo became a European anchor of a stellar foundation platform. So we are licensed by the French regulator and we work in the financial institution and in the international financial market. Additionally, Tempo France is included in FinTech 100 in French market. So, and I will explain you in fact why and how we achieve that. So on the next slide, we will mention that in fact, we are building the cutting, about the EuroT. Next slide. Thanks to the partnership with Stellar blockchain, in 2018, we launched a digital assets, which is called EuroT. It's a digital assets which is backed up by the real reserve on the cash in the bank and equal €1. Thanks to this technology, in fact, we accelerate the international payments for our customers, as for individuals and such as for the corporates. And in fact, for us, to bring this technology to the market means fast, safe, and very cheap transfer of funds. So as you know, there are already some stable coins on the market like USDC, like Terra, and so on and so on. But in European zone, Tempo France was the first European startup, fintech startup, which invent European stable coin and currently launching and pushing it on the international financial market. So in the next slide, you will see that for us, the core values, in fact, it's to make money transfer accessible for everyone, to reduce the cost of the transfer, and to give our customers the opportunity to benefit from the cutting-edge technologies. I will not hide the information that many traditional financial institutions are worried about these blockchain technologies and new digital channel transfers due to the vague, regulatory frames. But in terms of our solution and our product to our customers, we are happy to tell that all these issues are solved, and thanks to the blockchain support and blockchain IT system, we reach this target because our information is public, it's quite transparent, it provides the low cost to our customers, and it's quite fast. Yes, it's not the only one achievement for Tempo France. We also provide the international remittance solutions, so the web and app. So if you just can drop into slides, you will see that we have quite high, modern, and secure online platform for the transfers to your families and friends in other countries. And in fact, we follow the main targets. It's to do the fast registration for our customers, to have the friendly KYC, to easily navigate our product, and to have the variety of different payment methods. So we are building the future, in fact, because before we paid by check, and very soon we are going to pay through our digital wallets by our stable coins.
All right,
so
and time. Well,
that's all.
Thank you so much, Ala. I mean, there's a ton of information there to unpack as well, so I'm sure there'll be some follow-up questions, but thanks for the presentation, and also thank you for bracing with me in that presentation as well. I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen here, hopefully, and then we can just open up right away for any panelists that have any questions for Ala.
I have a question, if I may.
Of course.
What's the benefit of using your product over, say, Wise? You know, what kind of customer are you targeting that would prefer to use this product, or you know, what kind of problem are you solving that is not already solved by Wise?
So imagine, for example, you are a company who is located, I don't know, in Europe, and you want to buy the cotton from India, and you have to pay your goods. Okay, the usual SWIFT payment will take minimum 5 days, you know, to pay the goods you would like to buy. With our solution based on stable coins and Stellar blockchain, the payment will take only 30 minutes. It means that in 30 minutes, your provider will receive your funds transfer, and he will be ready to ship your goods which you would like to buy. So and it's about everything. So I just in a nutshell describe you the principle how it works.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, did you have a follow-up for that as well, Patricia? I mean, feel free to push or
well, I am just wondering, I think it would take less than 30 minutes to transfer money via Wise.
Yes,
wouldn't it?
less. But if I will tell 1 second, you know, taking into account the current reality, people just do not believe. But yes, it will take less. It will cost you less than €1. So using these blockchain technologies and our stable coin, it really will be very fast, low price, and highly secured.
Got it. And do you have ways in which you can protect from fraud?
Of course, yes. So just because we are a French-based company, you know, the Code Monétaire of France, it's one of the most demanding in the Europe. So, and we have a very big compliance department which create, you know, the every step of the rules which are incorporated in our IT system. So in our digital solution for our customers, and of course, in plus there are some physical checks of the documents and so on and so on. We know that currently the topic of IT security is very critical for the operations in blockchains and payments on the blockchains. So, and that's was one of the reasons so why we went to our regulator to get some additional licenses, you know, just to make our solution much more protected and safe for our customers. And in plus, in plus of the compliance, of course, the funds of our customers should be protected by the physical cash. In fact, this is a principle of the transfer using our stable coins. Every time we issue €1 like a digital asset, we put €1 on our reserve account in our bank. And like that, you know, the principle of the balance between digital assets and fiat money is kept. So every time when we issue the new stable coins, we are obliged to create the reserve in bank account.
I have one other question, unless someone else does, but how much money, do you release how much money you transfer on a monthly or daily basis that happens across your platform? And if you don't, that's fine, but just interested.
I will tell you the overall figures. So currently that's not so much. So it's around 5-7 million euros per month. And in fact, they are not only in Euro T. So we use some other stable coins to operate, because sometimes our customers ask the payments in USD. So in this case, we use the analog of the USD stable coin, and sometimes our customers ask for the settlement in Euro T. But definitively, after we will, how to say, to complete our regulatory story with French regulator, we will boost our volumes, and that's in fact our plan. So far we are still startup, and before to explore our business, you know, like to grow up, first of all we want to be sure that everything works correctly, and our strong base will let us to, you know, to be efficient and successful.
So Lucas, I see your hand is raised as well. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Ala, for your presentation. I just wanted to ask you, where do you see Tempo in the next 12 months? Because right now the fintech sector is not having that the best time, as well as the cryptocurrency. So I just wanted to ask you, where do you see your startup in the next 12 months, next year? Which is your next step? Thank you.
Yes, I agree with you. The crypto market is quite shaky, but our advantages is that we work not with cryptocurrency as a Bitcoin or Ethereum, which are quite volatile. We are working with stable coins. And in fact, our big target is just to create the ecosystem. It's a kind of analog of the circle, which already exists on the financial market, but using the European area. So we would like to be a kind of digital neobank, you know, which will allow as corporate customers and private customers to create the wallets on our platform and to buy stable coins and to operate with digital assets within our ecosystem, which is based on the Stellar Foundation blockchain.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you for your questions. And Ala, thank you so much for the presentation as well. And again, for putting up with my bad presentation skills.
Thank you to support me
with
my presentation.
Our pleasure. Folks, I just want a quick PSA, if we can continue to judge in real time in this judges scorecard as well. Thank you so much, all the judges, for doing that. I know juggling two things at once can get a little hectic. Allah, thanks again. We'll go ahead and we'll move on to our fourth startup of the day. I'm going to bring up George from Atlas Navi. George, just give me 1 second here and I'll let you share the screen. And just for the judges, I think in the scorecard, it says Atlas Navi / Founder Atlas. So that'll be the one that corresponds with George's presentation. George, you should be able to share your screen whenever you're ready, sir.
Yep. Hello, everyone. Just a second, please. Mm-hmm. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir. See your screen and hear you loud and clear. Whenever you're ready.
I'm ready. Hi, everyone. My name is George Grama. I'm the founder and CEO of Atlas Navi, a drive-to-earn AI navigation app. The problem we're fixing is that current navigation apps haven't innovated in years. They basically just rely on the GPS from the ego car that you're in, and based on that, they derive the speed and get very limited traffic data. They also rely on some manual reporting, such as Waze. So you basically report some incidents that you see, but only about 1 to 3% of drivers actually do that on a monthly basis. We also tackled another problem, which is that automotive OEMs are looking for ways to interact with their brand fans, people who are passionate about the cars that they're building. So we think we found a solution, which is using the smartphone camera or any dash cam, but mainly the smartphone camera on the back of your phone, facing towards the road. We're basically grabbing that video feed and we're interpreting it with computer vision algorithms. So besides using GPS, we're also using computer vision, and we detect all sorts of things. So everything from potholes to accidents, traffic in each lane, police cars, road closures, and other road conditions. And that data gets fed back to the server, which basically decides if other drivers should avoid that area or not. In essence, our solution basically takes a lot more data than Waze, usually around 100 times more data per mile than other GPS applications. We also integrated a concept called 3D NFTs. So instead of having a boring arrow on the map, you actually have a vehicle that you can customize and it looks very cool. It's 3D, other people can see it, and you can purchase it if you want some premium ones. We actually got licenses for these to sell them from the car manufacturers and other licensing companies. And ultimately, we developed a solution called Drive to Earn. So the drivers who are actually feeding data from their smartphone camera are actually rewarded for that data, depending on the time of day, location, whether it's inside the city or outside the city. That's basically a rewards mechanism to basically scale much faster. But it's optional to use the camera or a dash cam, basically. So you can just use it as a navigation app. We've actually built the product. It's been in development for 2.5 years. We got some EU funding for it. And right now we've launched the beta app. But just as an overview, this is kind of like how the app sees the environment. So it detects the cars and the potholes, and you can actually report incidents manually as well. So it's not just automatically. As I was saying earlier, compared to other navigation apps, we're actually having eyes on the roads and we're detecting a lot more data. Very cool features, and the look and feel is modern. And what I really want to get to is the fact that we launched 6 weeks ago, and so far we have 85,000 drivers who've registered, fully validated, who are making trips every day. And it's in public beta, still has problems, but so far community has been outstanding, and they've been downloading the app and using it quite a lot. So thank you very much. I'm George Grama, and this is Atlas Navi.
Hey, thank you, George. I know there's a lot of information there, but congrats, man. Congrats on 87,000 users in just such a short time. So congrats, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll open up for questions from the media panel.
Can I go ahead? The question?
Please do.
Great. So yeah, obviously you've got a lot of customers already. I'm wondering if you can maybe share a little bit more about your strategy of going to market.
Sure. So we built something. I don't know if I can am I still allowed to share this, or
please do.
I have some slides. Okay, cool. So our competitive strategy focused around driving clubs. So we're basically enticing every user to share the app with other users and build their own driving club. And basically what that means is that they get some rewards from driving themselves and some rewards from the people who they bring into that driving club, and they get notifications, and it's a real dopamine fix when you get a ka-ching sound on your phone that someone drove 100 miles and you got 1 mile token for that. And because that had quite a risk for our app economy, and the fact that we're using blockchain for that and our own native token, we have to make sure that it's sustainable. So we've actually been audited by a company that deals with this to make sure that long term we're not going to just collapse and be like a pyramid scheme, because we were very worried about that. But mainly the competitive strategy aims to recruit as many users as possible in certain cities, especially big cities where traffic is a problem, and where professional drivers drive quite a lot. So like we're contracting with delivery companies and transportation management companies and other people who drive 8 hours a day, basically rideshare companies and taxi companies and all that. So we want to get as much data as possible from the people who are on the road the most to become better in terms of the data that we have than the leading navigation apps. And we think that this industry hasn't seen any innovation in the last 8 years, and hopefully this is something new and better.
Hi, one question. What are those pro features you were talking about that people can?
Oh, these ones?
Yeah, that people can buy with tokens and coins. I mean, in other words, how do you motivate new users or new drivers to use Atlas Navi?
What was the last part? How do we motivate users to use Atlas Navi? Did you say?
Yeah, how do you motivate more drivers and users to ditch Waze or whatever and start using Atlas Navi?
Sure. Well, first of all, we only need 1 to say 3% of the users that other leading navigation apps have, because the data that we generate is all around the car as well. So we actually detect available parking spaces, right? Which most apps, no one would actually signal, oh, there's a available parking space over there. No one bothers. But our whole approach has been to build an app that's on the freemium business model. So it's free to use. It's got some paid features if you want some extra stuff. No advertising. If you want to buy an NFT of a car, then that's great. If you do that, then you start earning rewards for every mile that you drive. So we're focusing on pro features, and some users, let's say between 1% to 2%, will probably subscribe to those. There's going to be some people who are buying these NFTs, who are very passionate and want to customize their cars and all that. But we also rely on data. So we, given our past, and we've been in the mobility space and transportation SaaS software for about 11 years now. We've seen a lot of, we've seen what data can do and how valuable it can be. We've met with cities who have various smart city initiatives, and they want to buy data that's relevant. In the US, they pay companies to go around and take photos of potholes, for example, and add the GPS coordinates of that. And, those contracts are in the hundreds of thousands of dollars for companies just going around and identifying potholes and, scanning them. And that's worth quite a lot. If we can do that with, not just the potholes, but if we can do that with, any rideshare or taxi driver who drives down that street, then that's great. There are some other features that are not really available in modern navigation apps, such as truck routing and dispatching, basically, which we integrated into ours. Truck routing is available, but it's usually a paid feature. We want to make it free. And yeah, we think that a freemium app that's better and looks better and hopefully works better is going to captivate users. And by having people refer other people to it, it seems to be growing. We spend no money on this. We spoke to 60 people. I'm not joking. We spoke to 60 people when we released the beta app, and we were expecting about 500 to download it. And within like 3 days, we had reached the limit on the test flight application download, which is 10,000. And we were like, we have to release the apps on the app stores. And that's basically what we did. And yeah, it's beta. We still have a lot of improvements to do, but these are registered, validated drivers, not downloads. Downloads were over 100,000 in 6 weeks. Sorry for the long answer.
Awesome, George. Anybody else have any other questions for George? George, I just had one question as well to clarify. Sure. What are the tokens? What can they be used for when you earn them?
Sure. So you can actually, so we have two tokens. One is the rewards token and one is the governance token. It's very similar to other, move to earn apps or other type of like play to earn, for example. These are very popular, let's say, business models in blockchain technologies. With us, it actually makes a lot of sense to reward people for driving using their camera, because they are providing data to the whole network that everybody uses. And the more real time it is, the better it is. But using those tokens, you can buy the premium features if you want to. So if you drive around with the camera on, you'll earn those premium features. You can buy various products, but you also, I think I had it here. You can also buy additional products like insurance, road tax, vehicle maintenance, subscriptions, other products. That's what we thought. But we'll see. Or you can cash them out. So you can actually go on a crypto exchange and you can cash out those tokens if you want to.
Okay, interesting. All right, George. Well, thank you so much. Good presentation.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, folks, we'll move along. We're going to bring up our next presenter, who will be Chiara with Finaprise. Chiara, give me 1 second and I will give you the co-host role. All righty.
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yep, we can see your screen and I can hear you loud and clear. So whenever you're ready, Chiara.
Okay, perfect. Hi, everyone. It's great to be here today. I'm Chiara, co-founder of Finaprise, and today I want to tell you about a story about a handful of investors out of San Francisco that with 220 million started a fight with one of the biggest oil companies and won. They did so because companies continue polluting, paying women lower wages, and making choices that will influence generations to come. And in an environment where millions are turning vegan for environmental reasons, protesting in the streets, and investing more in green funds, many are still unfortunately frustrated. That's why with Finenprijs, we're bringing democracy to activist investing and making it easy for investors and activists to use their votes on environmental and social issues that they care about. Harnessing the strength of community to engage cooperation and have them listen to our voices. Our users will be able to invest on our platform, vote or express their preferences, and have Finenprijs vote for them, and engage in campaigns that within the purpose of pushing relevant stakeholder proposals. Other banks and investment platforms will also be able to offer the same services to their customers throughout our API. We have a business-to-business, business-to-consumer model. Banks and investment platforms will be able to pay for subscriptions for data and activism via our API. Users will be also able to pay for additional services on our platform, where they will be able to find free information and like-minded community. So we offer European investors an activist platform with low barrier entry and effortless shareholder advocacy and relevant impactful campaigns. So these are some of our competitors, where you can also see that it's UK only and US only. The European market is relatively untapped. This is our team. We are a team with a mission. Guy has a background in finance, my co-founder, and operations in multiple profitable startups. Perrin is an excellent full stack developer, and I'm a serial entrepreneur with extensive experience in growth and marketing. We also have excellent board of advisors supporting us, and we are engaging with activists and institutional investors as partnerships.
All right, 10 seconds.
How money talks, let's be loud. That is our statement. Are there any questions?
Right on, Chiara. Thanks so much. Really cool, interesting concept for sure. We'll go ahead and we'll open up for any questions from the media panelists.
Yeah, hi, Chiara. Thank you for your presentation. I've got a question. I just wanted to know if you could talk a little bit more about your business model, how you will monetize your platform and all this stuff.
Yeah, of course. So right now we have the platform. We launched our we launched 2 landing pages right now where people can find their impact information about different stocks. So that is now we have a free version, and also we have a paid version. So that is how we're doing actually business to consumer. However, we are also introducing an API where customers, like potential customers would be neobanks, or potential customer would be investment platform themselves, where they can also show this information as an extra for their customers. Like if you're buying some type of stocks and you think, okay, do these stocks align with my values? Are the impact metrics also what I want to see? That is the business model that we will expect most income from. If that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, Chiara. I wanted to ask you, for example, if I'm an activist, what am I going to find in Finenprijs? Can you guide me a little bit through the platform?
Yes, of course. So, for example, you are an activist and you do investing. And let's say that you have a portfolio that you are investing in at the moment. Are you currently? That's a quick question.
Well, not really, but let's say I am.
Okay, let's say you are. Let's say you have an Apple laptop and you think, oh, I might be smart to also invest in things that I am close related to. Let me see if what the impact metrics are. So let's say you will go here. I hope you can still see my screen. And then you can see, okay, this is the landing page for Apple, and let me see what their how their impact metrics work. What we have then is we have, no, if I have a picture, I don't have a picture, but I can send it to you later. Then you have an overview of the 8 metrics that we are putting attention to at the moment. We will add more metrics. And let's say that Apple is not having the amount of women on the board that the industry average is. Then that metric will be red. So that means that for the industry average, they don't have enough women on the board. That is then considered a social impact metric. Let's say you have another metric that is very close and dear to your heart, is CO2 emissions. Then you can also check out if the company that I'm investing in is also above or below industry average of CO2 emissions. If it's above, so if they're doing bad, it is red, and if they're doing good, it is green. We also have, if they're doing like the industry average, it is yellow, orange. So this is how you can then invest into companies where you want to hear your voice heard, and also invest into companies that align with your values. Another example is, for example, if you're an activist more and you want to use proxy voting to push shareholders to make the right decisions, you can, what we will be having is a proxy voting, and that is what, when you start a campaign with harvesting the power of multiple investors. So if you have stocks, you can pledge your stock into the goal of, let's say, we want to get more women on the board. If all these activists come together and say, okay, we want to push for more women on the board, we want to push for less water waste, then these harvesting all these shareholding voting together, then that is an example of how they also, the group Engine One, how they also succeeded in getting 3 board members on the Exxon's board. So that is from impact investing to activist investing. Whereas in impact investing, you are investing into companies that align with your values, and to activist investing is that where you're cautiously voting for shareholders to make decisions.
Okay, thanks.
I did see Patricia and Janae with their hands raised. I'm not sure if maybe your questions had been answered, if you wanted to ask a question of Chiara.
Sure. I have a question, which is, how do the campaigns originate? Do they come, like, who raises the issue of the thing you want to fix or solve?
So what we want to do, because that would be the first time that we would do it, we have some couple of let's call them influencers, people who have experience in those type of companies. We, for example, have one person who used to work at a company who tried to make a change within the company. Unfortunately, they did not succeed. So then they want to now start a campaign where they can harvest multiple people, multiple activists to make a decision. Whereas instead, shareholders cannot ignore them anymore if we harvest the power of many stocks together. So currently, we know of people, and they want to start a campaign with us, but we want to have it via our community. So what we want to do right now is we have a forum where people can share the interesting facts that they learn from the landing page that you see here. Whereas, for example, we try to really make the data tangible by saying, for example, Tesla has for X amount of waste, this is comparable to this country, and making that information tangible as a statement and letting people as a community comment under it, that we hope that that community comes up with then, okay, we want to have a campaign for Nescafe, or we want to have a campaign for Shell where we vote for these metrics to change. I hope that answers your questions.
Yes, thank you.
All righty, Patricia, please go ahead.
Hi. Two questions. You mentioned you have 8 impact metrics. So could you just tell us what those metrics are? And the second question is, you mentioned water waste and CO2 emissions, and on these type of environmental metrics, how do you make sure, you can have a company, for example, that owns its supply chains, and then, it will report that it has, say, for example, it uses more water to produce its product, but you can have a company that doesn't own its own supply chain, and, they will not be disclosing then, for example, how much water goes into, the product that they have consumed or bought at some other point. So how do you control for this to make sure that you are not giving people misleading information and punishing companies that, for example, own their own supply chain and try to take more responsibility for this?
Yeah, very good question. I will start with your first question, which is the impact metrics. The impact metrics are equal pay, women on the board, value chain CO2 emissions, operation CO2 emissions, water efficiency, women on the board, water footprint, tax cap, and board independence. Then to answer your second question, so in the EU, it's required that they share ESG data, which is also required to be fully transparent. But unfortunately, you are right that we need more data points to make sure that all the data is correct. So we currently have one data provider, and we're working on getting multiple data providers and also making it more of a community transparency that to make sure that we're not punishing and we're making sure that the data is correct.
Thank you.
Chiara, just to follow up on that one too, could you just tell us a little bit about where you get the data on all the companies?
Yeah, so right now we have one data provider that where we get all the information from, and yeah, that's it actually. That's,
are they like an NGO that monitors for this? Are they a watchdog or?
They're not an NGO, no.
Okay, gotcha. All right, Chiara, well, thank you so much. Interesting initiative for sure, and congrats on everything you guys have built.
Thank you so much.
Sure thing. All right, folks, we're down to the last two. So it's my obligatory PSA for all the judges to keep on scoring in real time. And thank you so much for your time so far. We're going to bring up a first ever for the Connect series, which I think is really cool. We're going to bring up Alan and Chris from Pros Fit, the first father-son duo we've ever had. So just give me 1 second and I will let you guys share your screen.
We'll actually just do it with video if that's okay.
Okay, sure thing. Whenever you guys are ready, please just go ahead and start, and I'll start the timer then.
Great. Hi, my name is Christopher Hutcherson. I'm co-founder and CTO of ProsFit, and I'm a double lower limb amputee, excuse me, who uses prosthetics. Many don't have that chance.
Hi, I'm Alan Hutcherson, co-founder and CEO of the company. Today, there are over 35 million amputees in the world, expected to double by 2050. For an amputee anywhere, a prosthesis is critical for mobility and quality of life. Presently, globally, up to 70% do not have access at all. The most important part of a prosthesis is the custom-made socket, the part that goes on the amputated limb. Artisanal traditional fabrication of sockets is the biggest bottleneck in prosthetics provision. And as we say, the industry is in a critical state and ProsFit has the answer.
We have successfully developed and industrialized the design and manufacture of custom-made sockets at scale. To date, we have provided 500 prosthetics across the world, outperforming traditional first-time fit rate by 80%. Now, isn't it ridiculous that someone with no legs like myself has to travel all the way to the clinic to get prosthetics? Well, not anymore. ProsFit solutions allow prosthetics provision anywhere, including at home. ProstFit is an acknowledged pioneer, attracting industrial partners including HP, BASF, Oracle, and Toyota.
ProstFit currently has a B2B business model, selling to existing prosthetic clinics. Given the significant size of the unaddressed market, we plan to create new end-user focused channels, both owned by ProstFit and franchised to qualified third parties, from hospitals to retail chains. Together with partners in Canada, we are building outreach to remote areas in Ontario, and in Singapore, we're currently enabling a government-supported pilot for prosthetics provision at home.
We've been revenue generating since 2018, and we're currently planning a Series A for H1 2023 to fund US market entry and to build over 5% share in a global addressable market of $20 billion. We're changing lives. Join us. Thank you.
Very cool. Alan, Chris, thank you so much for a great presentation. We'll go ahead and we'll open up for the media panel if anybody has any questions or feedback.
Yes, I'm very curious. I just wanted to know if you could tell us a little bit about your story. How do you build the company, how everything started? And yeah, if you could talk a little bit about yourself, both, please. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, I was involved in an accident in 2009 and woke up in hospital with suddenly 2 amputations. And it was at that point that we, as a family, were thrown into this world of amputation and prosthetics. The shift from the hospital to the environment where I was to be given the prosthetics was like moving back by 2 or 3 centuries, right? And that is the current state of the traditional prosthetics industry. It was very difficult to get access to prosthetics that were, comfortable for a start to use, that would then allow me to get mobile. And we realized that considering that was what we were seeing in Switzerland, what's then happening in the rest of the world as well. As a family, we saw what a challenge it was for me, and unfortunately, how many millions of amputees there are around the world who are in the same circumstance. And we just decided that we had to develop a solution that could address that problem.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have a question, which is, why do so many amputees, and I come from South Africa, I traveled to Mozambique, and I saw after the end of the war, there were a lot of people, a very high proportion of people that I saw out in the streets seem to have lost a limb. So I'm just wondering, is this a bigger problem in the first world, in the third world, and are you addressing cost? It seems like your product is better medically from what you're saying, and you're trying to get it out into market. So just trying to understand, the third world, I guess, and cost issues there, because I think for a lot of people in those markets, they don't have access to prosthetic limbs and their lives are inhibited.
No, thank you. You're right. Unfortunately, and it's a challenge that is not just in developing nations, but is really quite prevalent all over the world, unfortunately. One of the challenges was purely that making the socket was a very complicated process that demanded a highly trained professional and quite, let's say, expensive CapEx equipment. Those 2 factors meant that it made it extremely difficult to increase the footprint of prosthetics in general in the world. So unfortunately, in developing nations, there is a big lack, but we're currently here in Canada, there is a significant proportion of the amputees in Canada who are totally underserved and essentially do not have access to prosthetics. We remove those 2 elements of the bottleneck, so it's, I can say, really faster, better, stronger, cheaper than the existing solution today, and we're at the point where we can really now go and scale this up.
But maybe just to answer the question about low middle income countries, once we started to understand the dynamics, the fact that actually most of the unfitted amputees were in low middle income countries. In 2016 already, we partnered with Handicap International to do a project where we fitted amputees in Togo, Madagascar, and Syria. In 2018-19, we fitted nearly 40 amputees in a conflict zone in the Middle East, where we showed that it's possible to have a totally different business model. So we use physiotherapists to scan the patients in refugee camps. We have a cloud-based software basically to design the socket and configure the prosthetic. That was done in Holland. The sockets are 3D printed. They were boxed up with the components in France. So Ahmed's box went in with everything he needed. And then a physiotherapist, not a prosthetist, was used to actually fit those prosthetics, supervised by the prosthetist using Skype. Now, we have done many projects like that, but what we realized was that we can fit amputees anywhere. We have just finished a project supported by Toyota where we fitted 60 amputees in Bulgaria, 60% in their homes. Now, we did our first home fitting project in 2016. People didn't want to hear about it until after the pandemic. Suddenly, everybody wants to have healthcare in the home, and we're seeing a lot of interest now for what we've been promoting since 2015, 2016.
Go ahead if you were going to say something, Chris.
No, it was just purely to say that actually, unfortunately, it causes that we assume, let's say, a more common, that we associate with developing nations, are not actually the lead causes anymore in developed nations. The lead cause of amputation in North America now is diabetes and cardiovascular diseases, up to 70% of amputation. So unfortunately, with the, let's say, shift of modernization in the world, we're having a lot of health impacts that are then leading to amputations.
So maybe just to give the statistics, as we have people here from Europe and the US. Yep. In Europe, the statistic is 1 in 1,000 people has an amputation. In the US, it was officially in 2016 already 1 in 196, 5 times higher. And the rest of the world is expected to go the same direction as the US simply because of what we eat and drink, full stop.
Wow. Well, thank you guys, and a really amazing story as well. So thank you so much for the presentation. Jesus, I don't know if you wanted to comment on something as well. I see your hand there. You're on mute too. Oh, I think you're on mute, Jesus.
Sorry, I'm not from the media panel, but I can't avoid this. Where are you guys on? I think everybody knows that Toyota is going to sponsor Paris 2024 Paralympics and Olympics. Where are you guys on the conversations? Because I heard that there are further conversations on that one, Alan, and that's good to hear.
Yeah, no, we are working a little bit in the sports world. We're actually in Canada, and we're working with the Canadian Sports Institute here. Okay. In one of the projects we're working on, but we're not allowed to comment on what's happening in Paris.
Okay, very good.
Cool.
Something
guys.
is going on for sure.
Cool, guys. Well, congratulations again on everything you built, and thank you for being our first father-son duo for the Connect event as well. It's awesome. So congrats, guys. We'll go ahead and we'll bring on our very last presenter for the day, last but not least. Quick reminder, guys, please feel free to finish up the judges scorecard right after this last presentation as well, so we can get things moving. We have Andy Stan from Index. Andy, thank you so much for waiting, sir, and we'll go ahead and give you the presenter role as well if you'd like to share your screen.
Thank you very much, Jim, and good evening, everyone. Good evening from Moldova.
Good evening. Did you find your wine, Andy?
No, I'm just sticking with water.
Okay. After we'll celebrate with wine. That sounds good.
I was really impressed by the presentation so far, and especially the last one. So sorry that I'm a bit nervous.
No worries at all. Andy, we can see your screen. So if you want to put it on the slideshow.
Yeah. Just a second. Okay.
All right, Andy. Whenever you're ready, sir. I'll start the timer.
So at Index, we are in a mission to help technology companies scale the remote teams. We work on a market asymmetry. So we have noticed that in the developed countries, there was a high demand for skilled IT engineers, while in the developing countries, there was a lack of interesting local projects and well-paid opportunities. So this is the problem that we tapped on and that we are trying to fix for the last couple of years. Since 2020, when we started scaling up, we helped more than 100 companies identify talent. Our target audience and our target customer are mature startups that they don't have a global presence, and they need to access remote talent in order to scale and meet their developing demands. So far, we have around 3,000 developers connected on our platform, IT engineers, project managers, developers, more than 100 stacks. And this year, if all things are equal, we'll reach our $10 million goal in revenue. Our solution is very simple from a customer point of view. They post the job on the platform. They get the shortlisted vetted developers. This is happening in a few days. They have a client interview, and then the developer is assigned to their project. We source from more than 100,000 candidates worldwide. We use data. Actually, we are learning to use data when we are working on some interesting algorithm. We are vetting, and we are fitting also the developer from a technical and also from a soft skills perspective. We provide analytics to the customer, and we try to automate their legal compliance. So basically, they will not have a headache for paying somebody in another country and to deal with the specificity of the payroll. We are organized as a network organization, as a platform, actually. We are global and remote by default. We have a core team of 80 colleagues that operate from more than 30 countries.
10 seconds.
Our headquarters is in the UK, and Moldova is operational. We vet developers, and we filter also technology companies. This is the way we do our competitive advantage. So we look on the community that we bring to the platform, and we have interesting developments regarding data architecture and the complementary solutions that we provide, like the specificity to the payroll in various jurisdictions. So thank you very much. I'm Andy Stan. I'm the VP of Strategy for Index. I'm also a doctoral researcher in platform and strategy. And yeah, and I'm open for questions. Thank you.
Andy, thank you so much. And that sounds really interesting. Obviously, the growth of the company and how it coincided with the pandemic as well, it sounds. So congratulations on everything you've built. Judges, please feel free to hop in with any questions or comments for Andy.
Hi, a quick question from me. Do you have any competition? Are there any other companies?
Yes, we have a lot of competition. We have larger platforms like Upworks, like TopTal, more digital platforms like Turing, but we are different. Anyway, we believe that we are different, and we are trying to be different. We are not engaging into a zero-sum competition. So it's not like in a product base where you compete for a predefined market or a predefined product in a market. And we are trying to have a different user base. So we are good with expertise coming from Southeast Europe and the Balkans. We have good knowledge about this part of the world. We have good knowledge about UK and US. So basically, we are global, but we tap on the regional expertise. So this is coming from the user base. In terms of the platform architecture, we are looking at the data and the big data in order to develop a complex recommender system that is not only one-sided. So basically, both the technology company and the developer will have a specific vetting and filtering systems. Like this, we are not looking on high density like Upwork or TopTal, and we are looking at diversity of the community that we have on the platform to interact. So we try to focus more on the scope rather than the scale of the interactions. So yeah, we have a lot of competition, but we try to look at differently on the user base and also on the platform design and architecture.
So just quickly to follow up on that. So if I understand you right, you're saying that a lot of the developers that work with in Southeast Europe, and that's what's one of the things that makes you different from these other.
Sorry if
or are
I.
you saying that you are good at sourcing the talent base that isn't there?
Yeah, we are good at sourcing developers from Southeast Europe and Balkans. And the good part, this part of the world, we can find very well-educated IT engineers that they speak multiple languages and yeah, are available also on the time zone of the UK and the US. If I understood your question correctly, because there were some interruptions.
Not that.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Andy? Patricia, Stefano?
Hey, Andy, nice presentation. One quick question. How do you ensure that the fit will be a perfect match between the company and the employee and the engineer in this case?
Yeah, so now we are doing human vetting and human filtering, and we are working on the algorithm to reproduce these human actions. So we are looking, we are vetting the developer. So we are looking at the tech stack that the developer has experience, years of experience, validating the CV, running a KYC, doing an interview. Then the developer is vetted within the community. So another developer is having a technical discussion with a new developer that joins the platform. So we predefine a profile, and that profile comes into the community. When we get a technology company in the community, we filter it. We try to understand what they are looking for, what kind of projects they are working. If the projects, they need a specific technology that is going to evolve. For example, if they use, we had a query on a customer that was working with banks and their databases were not SQL, and we realized that we can help them with SQL developers, so to advance. So we have this now human vetting and human filtering that we are trying to put into the recommender system algorithm. So that's how we do it. It's a screening process. We make sure that who comes into the community of the platform is fit, and we don't want the huge scale that we see in other platforms like Upworks.
Gotcha. Oh, sorry, Stefano, were you going to say something?
No, I was just going to say thanks, Andy.
Thank you, Steve.
Andy, well, thank you so much for a great presentation as well, and congrats again on what you guys have been building.
Just one question. If I can get in touch with Lucas, I'm really curious. You said at the beginning he's doing a master's in digital economy. So I'm curious about how his master is going, and maybe we can share. I'm doing research in digital platforms and also share economy. So that's something. Yeah.
I can ask Jim for your email, or you can add me on LinkedIn, or I will find you later. Yeah, for sure.
I would love to talk. And for Index, if you know any technology companies or mature startups to work with us, we'll be glad to. We do a very good job, guys. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, Andy, for sure. And just as a heads up, obviously the whole kind of mission of the Connect event is to kind of bring people together as well. So we'll be sure to share LinkedIn's, et cetera, with everybody in follow-up emails, so that hopefully everybody can, get a chance to connect and move forward.
That would be lovely. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Our pleasure. Thanks again, Andy. All right, everybody, journalists, if you wouldn't mind taking just 30 seconds to finalize the scorecard. We have a couple minutes left. While the journalists are finalizing the scorecard, I wanted to see if anybody has any specific questions as well. Like I said before, we have kind of collectively decades of experience in the media and journalism space. So if anybody has any questions about best practices for pitching journalists, or what kind of story ideas they generally like to cover, et cetera, we'd really, it's an open book right now. If anybody's not shy. Yeah, I see. Let's see, who has their hand raised? Please go ahead. Kiara.
Hi. Yeah, I was wondering, so for example, we have now launched 2 of our landing pages, and I want to send out a press release that I wrote. But should I then send that press release out to anyone who I think would be happy to write about it? Or should I be more specific on this, as in topic suggestions? How would I build that up, since I'm asking experts here?
Anybody want to take a stab? I think there were also, kind of to clarify, 2 parts of the question. I think first, maybe we could even start off, hey, is sending out a press release about new landing pages, is that something that you guys might cover? And then the second thing is, what's the best way to approach in terms of finding the right person to cover your story? If you have any suggestions, media panel.
Sorry.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
You go.
Okay. I guess my advice is, you know, I would always research which journalists you think are interested in covering your story. So I wouldn't just reach out blindly or to lots of journalists. I think a lot of journalists get a lot in their inbox which are not relevant to what they're writing about and covering. So I think being focused about who, I would say, is one thing. I think the other thing is, journalists are interested in covering trends and things that are happening in the culture. And so maybe a landing page is less interesting, but how you fit in and what users are looking for or what the use case is, I think might be more of interest. I know just from our perspective, we do a lot more trend reporting and trying to unearth what's happening in venture rather than just doing necessarily individual stories. So if someone approaches me with, we think this is a trend, we're part of it, we'd love to chat to you, that's more interesting than just saying we've raised funding or we've launched a landing page. But you might have something else to add.
I completely agree. I just want to say that me as a journalist, I prefer when people do some research and they know what I'm writing about. So don't just bomb everyone and email everyone with your story. Just find the person who you think is going to be the best. And also you can tell what you're doing and at the same time introduce yourself. So I'm Kiara, I'm an expert in this field. So maybe you're writing a story about, I don't know, sustainability or whatever, so they can keep you in mind and think about you. They need a voice or someone to talk about a topic. So that's also like a really good point, like introduce yourself as an expert or someone in the sector. Yeah.
Thank you both so much.
Anybody else have any questions? I have one quick question, and then we'll move on with announcing the winners. I just wanted to ask as well, and maybe Patricia Allen and Janae, maybe this might or even Stefano and Lucas as well might fit a little bit with you guys more. My question is, what sorts of data points or social proof points do you need from a founder to kind of identify whether, like, I guess, for example, would one of those points be an amount of funding that has been raised, any in terms of traction, how many clients or how much revenue they're bringing in? Are there kind of limits to some of those where you say, hey, I'll probably wait on covering a startup until they have kind of met these criteria? Is that ever a case with anybody? And I don't know, maybe Patricia Allen, if you want to start.
Yeah, I wouldn't say necessarily there's limits in that a startup needs to reach a certain point before we can cover it. But I think it kind of plays back to the previous point that people were making there, that in introducing a new land mile or a new funding round, it really needs to tie in with a general trend or really highlight the impact that you're making for me as well. So it can be like, for example, a lower amount of funding, but I might still cover it if it's still super exciting, super innovative product and idea that's being brought forward. That might be more interesting than a massive funding amount for a product or a startup that's less impactful on society, for example. So I think it's all about tying in all these different elements and personalizing that in your outreach to the specific journalist that you're trying to connect with.
Gotcha. Fantastic. Oh, well, all right, everybody. If there's no other follow-up questions, we'll go on to what everybody's been waiting for. We'll go ahead and announce the winners. I wanted to mention here at Connect, we have fun, but we're a little low budget. So if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and unmuting, and we can go ahead and clap and cheer for everybody as I announce the winners as well. It takes a lot of guts to get up here in front of everybody and present. So first off, thanks to all of the presenters today for taking time out of your day to do it. I'll go ahead and start off with announcing the third place winner. We have Matthias from Transmetrics. Matthias, congratulations.
Thank you very much, guys.
Well done, sir. Very well done. Next up in second place, we have Aisling from Positive Carbon. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Really good presentation, and congrats again on what you guys are doing too. It's really important, so thank you. All right, guys, last but not least, I told you we're low budget, so here, this is my low budget drum roll. We have in first place our first father-son duo. We have Alan and Chris with Pros Fit. Alan and Chris, congratulations. I don't know if you guys want to say something, please feel free.
Well done, guys. Very well.
Cool. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it, and happy to connect and participate in the event together. And thank you really for everything and for the great questions, and happy to be here together.
Yeah, and thank you for helping us build awareness of what is a critical issue in the world. And maybe we even need activists, who knows?
There you go. There you go. It's all about connecting here. So no, congratulations again, guys. Very awesome what you guys are building. Thank you to all the startups again. A very special thank you to our media panel as well. I know all you are super busy, so thank you for sticking around with us today. I want to send a special thanks to Jesus Tapia from ISDI Accelerator as well. Thank you so much for that great presentation. And another thank you to my colleague, Salome, who's been helping behind the scenes with everything today, making sure it runs as smoothly as can be. So thanks everybody again. Look forward to hosting you for the next Connect event next time, and hope everybody has a great rest of the day. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Take care.
All right.